Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Emily, and as you could probably tell by the name of today's video, I'm going to be doing a 24-hour readathon. This is the first 24-hour readathon that I'm going to do that is a true 24-hour readathon. So I have a long weekend because it is the holiday weekend, but it is also very rainy, very not nice to be outside right now. So I have a little bit of gap in the weekend where I'm not really going to be socializing. I was out a lot today. I have plans Monday, but I have a gap between Saturday and Sunday that I would like to try to get this in. I have chosen 5 romances to try to get through in the next 24 hours. I do not know that I will get through all 5, but I wanted to just have books on hand just in case. So I will quickly go through those now. I'm going to try to talk very minimally between books just because I want to get as much read as I possibly can in the 24 hours. I'm not sure quite yet if I'm going to sleep. We'll just see how tonight goes. I'm going to be starting this at like 6 p.m. on a Saturday and trying to go until 6 p.m. on Sunday, but we will see how that happens. The first book I'm going to read is Christina Lauren's newest release, which is The Paradise Problem, and I believe this is like a fake relationship. Yeah, so there's like, I think this is a fake relationship so that he can get an inheritance, and my sister read this. I got this for her from Book of the Month, and she said it's hilarious. It's probably one of her favorite Christina Lauren books. They are hit or miss with me, so we'll see, but it just seems like a fun summer read, and it's getting warmer out, and I'm just excited for summer. So all of these are romances because I wanted some quick, easy reads to try to get some books off my physical TBR. So that's the only book that's not mine that I physically own. The next one is Off the Grid by Kay Bromberg. This was out of my romance reveal box. 3 of these books are actually out of my romance reveal box, but this is an F1 racing romance, and I think it's like racer and daughter of the coach. I think there's like an accidental like one-night stand kind of situation. I'm not exactly sure. This is not my favorite cover. There actually is a really adorable cover of this, like a, what do they call it? The like subtle cover or whatever, but it's fine. I'm going to be sitting at home reading it, so it's not a big deal. Then I have If I Asked You to Stay by Brianna Remus, and I think this is the one that's about, this couple had a relationship when they were younger, and on the girl's 18th birthday, the boy leaves her, and they both had trouble past and everything, so she doesn't trust easily, and because of that, now she really doesn't trust. And then he comes back, and she's trying to obviously not fall for him again. That's all I really know. It's a romance. It's probably something relatively simple and in that direction. This is quite a cute cover. So that was also out of my romance reveal box. Then I have The Hookup Type by Brittany Wilson, and from what I remember with this, there's like a 2-boy situation, and she's just hooking up with this one guy because neither of them wants a serious relationship, but then this other guy shows interest in her, so she starts kind of maybe trying to date this guy, and the guy that she's hooking up with has to decide if he wants to be more than just a friend with benefits and wants to fight to have a relationship with her. That's what I remember reading on the back the last time. But college romance should be fun, should be a quick, easy read. It is the biggest one out of them though. It's the thickest, so we shall see. And then finally I have The Cheat Sheet, which is the first in her like little sports romance series. The newest one was, I can't remember. There is another one out and I do have it, but I think this one is Friends to Lovers, and she's a ballerina, he's an NFL player, she has an accident, she has to live with him to get back on her feet, and I think feelings comes out because something accidentally happens and everyone thinks that they're dating, so it's probably a little bit of fake dating too. Yeah. Also another of my favorite tropes. So I'm not sure I'm going to get to this one. This is going to be the last one I read. I'm going to try to read them in the order that I just showed them to you, but we will see. I know that I could probably get through these fast, but reading them straight in a row and probably getting tired at some point could slow me down. So we'll see how many I get through, and I will share thoughts along the way and then more thoughts at the end of the video, and we'll just get started. Okay, it is like 5 to 6, but it doesn't matter because we're going to start a timer anyway. So 24 hours starting now. So I'm like an hour in, and I'm on page 76. So basically this book is about this Liam and Anna who got married in college because they needed cheap housing, and the only housing they could get offered that was cheap was family housing, so they had to get married. They didn't really know each other. Anna knew his little brother Jake, so that's how this got set up. And 2 years after living together, he graduated, she graduated, they moved away. But they never really got divorced because he found out when he got married, it opened up his inheritance clause from his grandfather, but he had to be married to her for 5 years before he'd get all of it. So 3 years later, he needs to go to, I think it was like Singapore or Indonesia or something for his sister's wedding. And his parents want him to bring her because they've never met her because they obviously kept it secret. So he has to go back to LA and beg her to go with him so that he doesn't lose his inheritance. And she's like the complete opposite of like the billionaire family that he is. So it's super funny watching her like pretend to be rich, and like he had to get her all these clothes and everything. So now they're in paradise. They're at the like bungalow thing they're staying at, and we're just getting into the story, but it's really cute. It's funny. Like Anna's hilarious. I think I'm really going to enjoy the dynamic between the two of them. I'm not a huge fan of Liam yet. I think I might grow to like him, but he's kind of stuffy and stuck up right now. But we'll see how that goes. But I'm loving Anna as a main character so far. So, gonna continue. We are at just over 3 hours, so I have like just under 21 hours left. I'm on page 217, and this is a messy book because these rich people. Messy, messy, messy. But it's kind of interesting that they're making the guy the messier person in this. I feel like Christina Lauren does that a lot. They make their men like the emotionally distant problem people, maybe a lot more than a lot of other authors do. But I think that Anna is like really good for Liam because he's so used to having a family that doesn't support him and wants him to do only what they want him to do, and doesn't care about his feelings and his life and everything, and basically doesn't believe in feelings. And she's trying to show him that like that there's more to life than that, and that she'll be in his corner, and it's just really sweet, and I really like them together. And I'm liking Liam more now that you're seeing more of why he is the way he is. So I have just over 100 pages or so left, so I'm just gonna keep going. And it's like 9 o'clock, so it's still kind of early. My biggest fear is that my eyes are gonna give out on me before anything, but we're gonna push through. Book 1 done. So that took me just about 5 hours. Got 19 hours and like 5 minutes left on the timer. So this was really cute. It was one of my favorite, I think, that I've read by them. It was a very like family oriented, but not in like the happy way kind of book. Talked about a lot of family dynamics and the way that the different ways we're brought up can, you know, nature versus nurture kind of thing, and the different classes people can be in and how that can differentiate how we view the world, and that we don't have to make other people happy when it's making us unhappy. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just a romance novel, so I did really enjoy this one. I'm gonna hold off on rating everything until the end, but now we can go grab book number 2. daughter of an F1 racing team owner, I guess is the best way to put that. And her dad wants her to take over the team. And then he is an F2 driver trying to be placed on an F1 team. And I think there was like a scene where she met this guy in a bar and he basically humiliated her, and I'm pretty sure it's him. It doesn't say it's him. And that's where we are now, because there's an open spot on her dad's team that needs to be filled because another driver got injured, and we're waiting to see who fills that. Gonna guess it's gonna be him. So it is now like midnight and we have 18 hours left on the timer. I'm gonna try to sleep for a few hours because I can't keep my eyes open, and we'll come back in a bit and try to continue reading. So it's now like 5 a.m. I slept for a little just because I was not getting through this if I didn't. And I've got 13 hours left. So we're gonna jump back into Off the Grid. I'm making coffee to help myself wake up. So while that's heating up, I want to start reading again. We're just about 12 hours in, so right halfway point. And this is like, it's getting better. It's less like F1 jargon and more of their story now. They like hate each other. She hates him. I think he's just really flirty, and that's just his personality, and she doesn't know how to deal with it. And he's now getting his chance to like be an F1 driver, and it's obviously on her dad's team, her family's team. And she just doesn't know how to handle him, and it's kind of funny. So we'll see where this goes. Right now it's still building. I don't know if this is going to be like a slow burn or if it's going to be more of a, it's going to hit me in the face and then not leave. I don't know yet. So it's better now. The first like 50 pages were just a lot of like F1 talk, so it was kind of boring, but now it's definitely picking up. So gonna continue reading. Hopefully this one doesn't take me too much longer. I think I'm gonna get it on my Kindle. I might be able to read a little faster on that, but we'll see. I'll check in later. 10 hours in, 14 minutes left. I'm on chapter 45. I'm reading on my Kindle and here. So that far, this much left of the book. And it definitely has taken on like a deeper storyline. Like, you're learning more about Camilla and why she was the way she was at the beginning, and they're opening up to each other about like the tragedies and the trauma they've had in their past and how that's shaped who they are now. And I am enjoying it. It is not as spicy as I thought it would be, which I am enjoying. It's more based on feelings than it is anything like attraction. I mean, obviously they're attracted to each other, but I'm enjoying that it's not fully just spice. So there's more to it than I thought with a book that looks like this. So I'll finish this one up and then move on to book number 3. I have about 50 pages left, I think. Just under 50 pages left. So I should be able to finish this up pretty quick. done. It was a cute ending. I enjoyed this one more than I thought I would. And again, like, it wasn't as spicy as I thought it was going to be, so I think that's why it was more of a story than just spice. So I enjoyed that. Again, gonna keep my ratings till the end. Gives me some time to think on it, but I definitely enjoyed this more than I thought I would. So kudos to Kay Bromberg. Alright, so I thought I'd change up the scenery a little bit for the next book here. And that is If I Asked You to Stay by Brianna Remus. Again, another book from my romance reveal box. So we'll get started on this and see where it goes. This is also on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm probably going to go back and forth with that too. My Kindle's charging right now. But I think I read faster on my Kindle, so I might still go back and forth between it. We shall see. I have like 9.5 hours left, so we'll see how many more I can get through in that time frame. Okay, so I'm like 50 pages in, and basically the synopsis is there was this girl and guy who dated when they were younger in like high school, and she was from money and he wasn't, and she broke up with him because I think she was like, I don't know why she broke up with him, and the reason doesn't say on the back, but she broke up with him, and then he went off to the military, and she left town. She came back years later because she inherited her like family's estate and now needs to like sell it to get the money to follow her own dreams, and she's visiting and staying with her friend Sarah and doesn't know that Johnny's back in town because he's like out of the military, I think now, and ends up running into him, and there's still feelings there, and she doesn't know how to deal with them, and there's a lot coming out, I think, about their past that we're gonna see throughout all of this, but I can't really talk about that because it doesn't say it on the back. So it's been 12 years, and the feelings are still there for both of them. So he's pursuing her. She can't really even speak around him because she's kind of too shocked and doesn't really know what to do. And that's where we are. So I will continue reading and update a bit. And 12 pages in, and I'm understanding a little bit more about what their whole situation is. So the prologue was her mother, and that confused me, but like basically she came from a rich family and her mother got pregnant as a teenager and disowned her, and the whole family like disowned her mother, and she didn't know. She grew up in an orphanage with Johnny, and that's how they met. And when he turned 18, he left for the military, and she just felt like he abandoned her and never wanted to contact her again, and that's not true. We find out, and now they're trying to like deal with all of the betrayals and stuff from their past, and the fact that they both thought that the other one abandoned them and all that stuff. So I'm not really sure it's a romance, there's not going to be a huge point to it, but right now it's slow building, but also kind of like moving fast between them. They're like, I can't believe you left me, but I still love you. So we'll see. I'm gonna read on my Kindle for a little bit, and we'll see where it goes. Book 3. Done. This took a turn. It kind of turned almost like crime mystery at the end, Willow was trying to dig deeper into her family's history and find out, like, about her mom and what exactly happened, that she had to give her up and all of that. And it turned a little bit more into, like, a mystery at the end. Not a mystery, but more crime centered at the end. So that was fun, but it was good. Not my favorite that I've read in this vlog, but not bad. So now it's time to go get the next book. We have basically 6 hours left. 5 hours and 55 minutes left. So let's see how long it takes us to get through book 4. Getting ready to start The Hookup Tape by Brittany Wilson. And this is the first one that's actually in dual POV, which I'm excited about because I'm not a huge fan of single point of view in romance novels. So maybe that'll help this one out because it is quite long. So 400 and some pages long. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so I think I've got the gist of what's happening here. We've got Macy and we've got Jackson, and they met like right before school started, their junior year of college, and then they were in a class together, so they just became like really good friends. But Jackson's basically like a playboy. He only ever hooks up with girls. He doesn't have relationships or anything. And then Macy was just looking for a guy to hook up with this year because she didn't want anything serious. And they go out to the bars together one night and start to hook up, but then Jackson stops it because he doesn't want to ruin their friendship. And then she ends up doing something one night that kind of is going to force his hand to make a decision. Force both of their hands, I think, to make a decision. So that's where I am. This is just like I'm reliving college and not in a good way. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about this book, but the bar scene and all of the descriptions of that are just a little too close to home. But we'll see how the rest of it goes. I'm only on like page 80, so I still have quite some time left to have an opinion. So we're at 4 hours left. I'm probably only gonna get through this book. I don't see myself getting through another book, but I'm still not even halfway through this one. And it's just like a whole bunch of mess, honestly. I don't even know what to compare it to with what I'm thinking. Like, it's just literally, I don't know how all of these people don't have STDs, like every STD that there is. It's just messy. That's all I can say. I don't even know like what to compare this to, but like just everybody sleeping with everybody. It's kind of gross. It's immature. It's very immature. It's like more immature than a college romance that I've like ever read, but still gonna read it. It's gonna be the book I probably finish this vlog out with. I don't think I'm gonna make it to the cheat sheet because I opted to sleep instead, which is fine. But I'm gonna continue going on with this one, and we'll see if anything changes from the storyline that I've been reading for the past 175 pages. This book is actually kind of making me mad, and it's on like the level of almost like a Magnolia Parks thing where they have feelings for each other, they won't admit that to each other that they have feelings for each other, so they're just sleeping with everybody else and hurting each other. And this dude is really making me angry. I don't even know why I'm reading this at this point. I'm gonna finish it, but I'm just very angry at both of these characters, so we'll see. I literally don't know how there's still another 100 pages in this book. I'm so over it. Nothing's changed. They're still just sleeping with everyone. So, you get through another 100 pages of that, maybe someone will get their head out of their ass. I don't know. Book number 4, done. This book could have been 200 pages shorter than it was. That's all I'll say about it right now. I think I have 45 minutes left. I don't know that I'm gonna start another book. I guess I can start it and I'll just like finish it outside of the 24 hours. Let's do that. Okay, with 44 minutes left, I'm going to start the cheat sheet, which is probably a good book to go into now just because that last book was like kind of spicy, and then this is like a closed door romance, so it'll be a lot cleaner. So, different type of thing here. I still think this is like a Friends to Lovers, which technically the hookup type was too, but at least they'll be different content-wise. We'll see. "24 hours is up." So I made it about 55 pages into the cheat sheet. I'm gonna finish this book before I end out the vlog, just because I'd started it. So I'm gonna finish it, and then when I do, I'll end out the vlog. Overall, I read 4 books and then just started this one. So I'll wrap everything up when this one's done. All right, 2 days later, it's time to finally wrap up my 24-hour readathon vlog. I started this vlog with The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I really enjoyed this book. It's probably my favorite one by them that I've read so far. I loved some things about it and I hated some things about it. I ended up rating this a 4, which I think is the highest I've ever rated one of their books. It still was lacking some things for me, so I couldn't give it anything more than that, but it was a fun read. I loved the main character. She was great. She was spunky. She just said what she wanted, and no matter the circumstance, and it was just so fun. So the premise of this was this girl and guy get married in college. For convenience factor, they needed to get family housing, and the only way you can do that is if you're married. So they got married, didn't really know each other. She was actually friends with his younger brother, and that's how they found each other. Got married to get cheap housing, went their separate ways. 3 years later, he comes to find her because he has to go to his sister's wedding, and has been telling his family he's been married for 5 years because he has to like get his inheritance and whatever. So he shows up at her door and she's super down on her luck and she's willing to do whatever he's asking for her to fake for a week because he's gonna pay her. And then it just kind of escalates from there. She didn't even know they weren't divorced. I mean, this girl was something. It was very far-fetched, the storyline was. It was like every bad family vibe you could get came from this, and that was what bothered me, I think, the most. And it was just very far-fetched. But the main characters were great. The guy grew on me, but the main female lead was great the entire time. I don't have the book anymore. I gave it back to my sister because I borrowed it from her. But I really enjoyed that one. Then I read Off the Grid by Kay Bromberg, and this is an F1 romance, and it is the owner of the team's daughter and their newest driver. So basically, Spencer, they call him Riggs, is trying to get from F2 to F1 at the beginning of the book, and they kind of follow him as well as Camilla. Her dad wants her to take over as being in charge of the F1 team. She's working for their other family business in Italy, but does agree to come up for one season to just kind of scope it out, see if she likes it. She has reasons for not wanting to be on the circuit anymore. You do find out about some things that happened to her in her past, and that's where the book kind of really opens up. Spencer's hilarious. He's definitely like a rake. He's a playboy, but Camilla obviously changes that for him. And the beginning of the book, I didn't like how they introduced Spencer's character because I really hated him the way they introduced him. He grew on me and their relationship grew on me, and it wasn't like super hot and heavy. It was, I would call, like a slow burn, so that was nice. And it was more about like them growing to trust each other and make decisions in their own life and do things for themselves and grow their careers. So it wasn't just a straight up romance. And for being like this kind of a cover, it was not as spicy as I thought. I landed on a 3.5 for this one. I would recommend it. It was fun. There was just a lot of F1 talk at the beginning, and that's not my cup of tea. But if you love F1, you'd probably like this a lot more than I did, but I still really enjoyed it. I like barely even remember this book. Is that sad? This book is about these two people that were in an orphanage together because they were disowned. Like, her family disowned her, and his family, I think his parents were like drug addicts or something. And I don't know if they died. I don't think he knew if they were alive or not, but basically they had to give him up. And she didn't know who her family was while she was in the orphanage, but she eventually grows to find out who they were, and they were like an affluential family in the town that she was living in. So she moved away after high school because after they found out who her family was, and like this tragedy happened in that family, she just didn't want to be in town anymore because she was dealing with a lot of like bullying and stuff from it. So she left, started her own thing, came back into town when the matriarch of that family died and was the last known person in that family, and they left the estate to her. So she came basically to claim the estate. Johnny was back in town. She didn't know, like, he had left her when she was still in high school. He left her to go into the military, and she thought he just like abandoned her. So he tries to pick up right where things left off because he doesn't understand that she's mad at him, and he doesn't know that she's actually leaving again. And it's like a lot of miscommunication throughout their entire relationship, even when they were in high school till now. And that's basically what they work through. This, again, wasn't super, super spicy. There obviously was some in there. And I ended up giving this 3 stars. I enjoyed this. It was just, it was a deeper, heavier book. It wasn't as like fun and what I was really looking for like a summer romance read. But I would recommend it. If you could get over the miscommunication trope and that kind of stuff. But the one thing that kept me interested was that she kind of uncovered something about the tragedy that happened in the family. Like, she was trying to uncover what actually happened because she didn't think that the police dealt with it correctly. So there was a little bit of like a mystery aspect to it. So I think that's what kept me the most entertained. It was okay. It was a decent romance. I don't remember a whole ton about it. I was like power reading these books. Nothing really sticks out to me from this book, but I wouldn't say don't read it. And then I read The Hookup Type by Brittany Wilson. This book took me back to college, but not in a good way. It was bar scenes, everybody's hooking up with everybody. I don't know how they all didn't have STDs, and it was about 200 pages too long because it was like 200 pages of bar hopping that they could have taken out. This girl Macy and this guy Jackson meet at the beginning of their junior year, and then they meet like outside of class, and then they end up having a class together, and they become friends. And she's just looking for what she calls a fun dip, which is a hookup to keep throughout the year, and he's just a player and sleeps with everybody, so he doesn't do serious. And they both have feelings for each other. They both really like each other as friends. They hang out a lot as friends, and then one night they try to take things further and decide not to because he's afraid it'll ruin their friendship, and he's never liked a girl like a friend, like he likes her, and he doesn't want to ruin their friendship, blah, 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 blah. So they decide not to hook up. She gets kind of ticked about it, ends up finding her fun dip, and the whole book is really just like her sleeping with this guy and him getting mad about it and sleeping with everybody else, and then them kind of having deep conversations and confessing their feelings to each other, but at the same time they just keep sleeping with other people. It was a lot. I ended up giving this a 2.75. It was spicy. It was a little overdone. If you're maybe like in your 20s, early 20s, late teens, this might be more appealing, but as a 33-year-old who did not want to relive those parts of college, this was just not it for me. Personal preference, but it was a book I read. And then the final book that I did not finish in the 24 hours, but I started in the 24 hours, and I have since finished, was The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. And this was like a breath of fresh air after reading some of these other spicier books, because this is a closed-door romance, and it is a childhood friends to lovers situation, and that is like my favorite trope. So I really enjoyed that. Basically, we have Bree and Nathan, and they were friends in high school. They immediately had feelings for each other when they met in high school, but they never admitted them to each other, and they've been like best friends. She has an accident when she's younger because she's a dancer that kind of really changes the trajectory of her life, and then he ends up going off to college for a football scholarship, and now he's an NFL player. So they separated for a little bit and then both ended up in California together and became best friends again. And she's like that girl that every girlfriend of his hates because she's always around, but he will always pick her over the girlfriends, and she's made that clear. So you know the whole time that you're like, I don't know how they're not both seeing that they both love each other. But it was just really adorable. They end up having to fake date because she says something to a reporter in a bar one night while she's drunk. Another one of my favorite tropes, which is probably why I liked this. It was just, I don't know. I mean, it was adorable. It was refreshing. It was the kind of fun summer romance that I've been wanting to read. I recommend it. If you like Sarah Adams, I know a lot of people don't love this book. The Rule Book is the next book in the series, and I do have that. I don't know when I'll get to it, but I enjoyed this one. So if people like the Rule Book more, I'm probably going to love the Rule Book even more than this. I ended up giving this 4.25, which is my highest rated book of the video. And I would highly recommend it if you love a fun, closed door sports romance. If you love friends to lovers like I do, if you love fake dating, this was a hoot. They were hilarious together. I loved Bree. She was just that awkward, funny best friend, not knowing like where the line needs to be drawn, and the whole time like basically being like, yeah, we're best friends every time like he would try to get close to her, and I just loved that. So I would recommend this book and The Paradise Problem out of every book that I read first. But they were all, for the most part, good books. So that is it for this. I ended up reading 4 full books, and then I started The Cheat Sheet, but I also did sleep because your girl needs sleep. So that is my first full actual 24-hour readathon. I think I might do one again maybe in July. I'm gonna need some time. I don't have time in June to do one, so it will have to be July at the earliest. But I had fun. I was really tired by the end, so I won't be doing them often, but when the days are bright this long, this is probably when I'll do them, in the summer, not in the winter when it's dark all the time. I thank you if you have made it this far in the video, and if you like my content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.